tail lights, we won't. Why did that just fall?
What just fell?
Oh, that's not attached.
Nope, that's not attached.
Oh my god.
All right, well that explains a lot.
That explains so much.
All right.
The Hondas of legend that I always heard about had these excellent shifting experiences. Sadly, I'm not getting to experience that right now. Civic that we picked up is doing this instead. I'll give you a little demonstration. On this shifter, you'll see that first is actually way over here. If I were to say throw it into neutral, it's supposed to pop back to center. It's all mushy in here. That's not what we're looking for out of this. It's slushy, it's vague. It's really easy to say accidentally throw it into third versus fifth. We're going to take this dash off and get at all of the mechanical bits underneath. Try to find out what the hell is going on with the transmission here. Since we took the dash apart and crawled under the car in order to inspect the shifter, we ordered all the parts that we think we need. The first thing that we're replacing here is the shifter seat bushing, a ring that sits around the ball of the shifter. It's gonna go in there and that's gonna sort of snap around it. And then we've got the shifter seat boot, and this is made of rubber. This will go inside of it. We're gonna have to stretch it over it, and then all of this will go around the whole shifter itself. On ours, this is all gummy and torn to shit. Before we put that all together, we picked up some grease in order to make sure that everything is moving nicely and doesn't get snagged. Right now, obviously things are sticking and it's pulling the rubber seat when we attempt to shift. This last bit is not really necessary as such, but we got some replacement bushings for the shifter from Energy Suspension. These are supposed to make the shifting experience a lot tighter and nicer, and it's a cheap part. That comes with mount for the linkage, and then this bushing also, which is going to go on another part of the linkage. And then they also include some pre-lube. I don't know what pre-lube is. It's lube before you lube. So we have it up on jacks. We're gonna get underneath the car. We have to disassemble everything and then drop the shifter linkage before we can install this stuff. So, time to get started.
Okay, so the first thing that we have to do in order to replace the shifter linkage, bushings, and boots and all that stuff is actually remove the hardware that's holding it in place already. So I went ahead and I hit this with PB Blaster to try to loosen up all the bolts. This car doesn't have that much rust, honestly, but I really don't want to strip or break any of these bolts off. I have my 12mm wrench with the swivel. I have my box wrench, and we're gonna start by taking the bolts off of this linkage.
This is the original rubber bushing that holds which part, Steve? Where does this go?
That's the stabilizer bushing near the shift linkage.
This one goes. This one is what we're gonna replace it with. And this is made of polyurethane, should have less give to it.
All right, so we've scooted our way down to the front side of the car, and we're just gonna take off the whole shifter stabilizer bar right here, which is just another 12mm, like so. This is ready to come out.
Okay, I'm taking it. And we're gonna do our surgery on it while it's out. That's nice. This is what they're supposed to look like. So you can just see, that's 24 years worth of mistreatment. This is what it's supposed to look like. You can see the old crown here. Ours is new and white. This one is old, and we'll see whether it's in any shape at all. Oh, look at that. See all that crap?
Yep.
Look at that crap. The inside of this, just bone dry. You're shifting, okay? What it was doing is just grabbing the rubber and pulling it along. And so that's what made it feel, well, first off, that's what kept it from returning to center when you wanted it in neutral. And when you shifted it, it was also, well, nothing was being held tight or in place. And so things were over here, but it felt sort of gummy and mushy while you were doing all of that. So this is trash. Now we gotta put it back together with the new stuff.
Well, we found one other problem while we were taking it apart.
Yeah, why don't you talk about the other problem?
At the other end of the stabilizer bar, you have this round bushing. This is the bushing that's supposed to replace it. So everything is looking good from basically from the shaft side. The problem is the bracket that retains it. It's like it's been kind of bent out of shape or warped. This bushing definitely is not gonna fit in there. So we're gonna have to do a little hammer therapy to get this back into a shape where we can actually use it.
I'm gonna try to start assembling. First thing I'm gonna do is get lots and lots of grease. This is messy work, but the boot is around the crown, the bushing. This guy is all in there, and now that should all slide nicely. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Okay.
I'm glad that you're succeeding in your task because I'm not sure that I'm succeeding in mine. Yeah, so we managed to beat this bracket into submission using a couple lengths of pipe, this hammer, the floor, some scraped knuckles. Finally, we spread it enough, and I'm gonna try to kind of shape the metal around a sleeve that goes through the bushing. Try to shape it a little bit through the sleeve and just make sure that we're lined up on the threads. And then we'll take it apart and we'll put this bracket back onto the transmission where it belongs. And then we'll be able to do the whole bushing thing. So if we did it once, hopefully we can do it again. So when we took the previous bushing out, it had this metal bracket on it, but there's no way for this to like slot on here. So I think we're supposed to skip it because we have the metal sleeves on here now.
Now's when we find out whether all that work we did amounts to anything. I'm gonna go through the same test as when we were diagnosing it. First thing, oh God. Oh, well, no, that is better. Does it return to center? Yes, it returns to center! Steve, it's fixed.
It's fixed?
It's fixed!
Oh my God, it's fixed!
We did it. Okay, so test drive. Now that shifter fix is in, we'll see how much of a fix it really is. Headlights work.
Headlights do work.
All right.
Taillights are a maybe.
Taillights, we won't. Why did that just fall?
I think we're supposed to skip it. What just fell?
Hey, Steve, what you working on?
Oh, just fixing a up.
So what was the up?
So there's a metal piece that slots super nicely into the old bushing. It doesn't really work in the new bushing very well. And so I didn't think we needed it because we have these metal sleeves. But the without a washer, it just slipped right off. So a big washer would have worked. Instead, we don't have any of those, so we'll have to reuse the piece that came with it. And just hope that that does the job.
Is it fixed?
I hope so, yeah. That's
okay.
More fixed than it was last time. We're in first gear right now. And we have that much play side to side. And now we're in second. We have that much play, which is even maybe a little bit more play than first. Okay, Brenda, so what did we learn tonight?
Well, we learned some new things about the car. We also learned how to replace a bunch of old rubber bushings with polyurethane ones. So then we test drove it. And it's better. Like, it moves nice and smoothly.
Yeah.
But we still have a lot of left-right play. So the shifter saga is not yet complete.
Oh. Oh. I think this has been fooked with before.
Oh, that would not surprise me.
Look I found a bolt in a place I didn't expect there to be a bolt. And it was kind of loose.
A loose bolt that someone fooked with?
Yeah. in a spot where I didn't expect there to be a bolt. Yeah, what? What is happening here? I don't think there was ever supposed to be a bolt there. Wasn't there supposed to be a spring clip?
Yeah.
Or a spring pin?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, need that spring pin, I guess. What is happening here is that this shaft is rock solid, just the way we want it to be. That part's great. This part, instead of being held in there tight as to for with a spring pin, somebody replaced that spring pin with a bolt that is not doing the same thing. So this bolt is just letting this flop around all over the place. All right, so we need that spring clip thing.
Let's drink beer and buy a spring clip.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we've got that bolt replaced with what was supposed to be there, which is that spring pin. It took a bunch of work from both Steve and I and a lot of percussive maintenance, but I'm now very excited to see if we finally fixed the shifter. So we're gonna go for a bit of a test drive and hopefully everything is feeling the way we want it to. So here we go. Moment of truth. First shift into first. And it stays. And it's not that wobbly. All right, here we go. Let's do a few of these. All right. Just around the cul-de-sac here. Whee! All right, now into second. Oh, yes. Very snick, as Steve likes to say. It feels like it's actually like grabbing onto something. And, oh, it feels so good. Oh, this is so much better. This is actually fixed this time. Okay. Good job, Steve. You did it. All right, well, it is nice to finally have that wonderful Honda shifting experience. Unfortunately, the bushings didn't do it for us. That was part of the fix because it was going to be gummy anyway, but we did have to get in there and fix some prior maintenance jank. Someone did not fulfill their civic duty fixing the shifter on this guy originally. But it works now. The next little oddity on the Civic that we have to fix, or not really fix, sort of a modification, we have to add a tachometer to it because the cluster that it came with doesn't have one and we're gonna want one for racing. So if you want to see that and all of our other Civic Duty videos or the maintenance videos or any of the other things that we do, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to us, and then ring the bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.